Can you say, oh, Canada?
Canada.
Good boy.
Lifestyle plays a part, but there are other factors that are beyond people's control. Family history, genetics.
It's tough to make a living. I was 5 years part-time before I had enough seniority to get a regular full-time spot.
Okay, so you've been getting some calls lately from the creditors?
I'm Leah Bolton.
I'm Dean. Fraser Focus, a fresh perspective beyond the bridge.
Hey everyone, welcome to Fraser Focus, local faces and local places. I'm Leah Bolton.
And I'm Dean Atwell. On today's lineup, we talk about local paramedics who want to be deemed as an essential service here in Canada.
We also touch base on two separate stories on issues on the rise, Canadian debt and diabetes.
Start off the show though, Canada is celebrating its 150th birthday this year. And what better way to celebrate than to be learning about the history here in Fort Langley.
So welcome to Fort Langley National Historic Site. It's a Hudson's Bay Company fur trading post.
You gonna sign up with the company today? Sure. I don't even know what that company is.
The history that we share here is Fort Langley specific, but it's also Canada specific. Fort Langley was first established in 1827.
Okay.
And it moved to the present location that we are at in 1839.
1927. We're talking Canada 150 plus.
That's right, we are Canada 150 plus.
We are all in this room because of this event.
This is where the Proclamation of BC was signed, and James Douglas was here, and in the big house, that's where we had the proclamation.
Of gold prospectors up and down the Fraser River, all the way into the interior now in 1858, looking for gold.
So it would have cost you $5 to get a license. Did you purchase a license today? Do you have $5?
It's like a nice clean house just like we do, right?
It would have been supporting how many people, do you know?
You had about 100 people living within the walls of the fort, 25 men hired by the Hudson's Bay Company, and they had arranged marriages with local First Nations women. So the chief men and women of those tribes would sit down with our chief trader, and they would arrange marriages for workers that had been here for a little while. And so they would start families of their own. That's where the remaining 100 comes from.
And one more.
As many celebrate Canada's 150th birthday, it's important to realize that the First Nations were here long before that.
They want to know where I'm from, and I tell them I'm from here. And I give them the story about my great-great-grandfather working here, and that I'm a proud person.
It wasn't until 1867 that obviously we had Confederation, and BC didn't join until actually much later than that, with the promise of the railroad.
It's neat because we have the Royal Engineers story here in the red coats that came during the time that we became a colony, British Columbia. And my ancestor on my dad's side came to Canada as one of the the King's Own rifles. Who would have thought?
Are they making fire? They're getting the fire going. And they're gonna make some metal.
So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna put a little bit more coal right on here. Keep pumping.
Would you have an apprentice here normally?
This is usually what your apprentice would be doing. So
I'd be the apprentice right now.
Yeah.
You guys learn anything here?
That you don't need to go to the gym after working there, because that takes a lot of upper body strength to pull that all day.
And I think I would make a really good apprentice. I think I need some practice.
Your mom. All right. Good. Mom, does he have permission to help me? Good. Because you don't have a choice. So.
Well, it's 150 years since Confederation.
Okay.
So all Parks Canada National Historic Sites, parks, and marine conservation areas, it's free this year.
Right.
So when you arrive at the visitor center, you'll receive a 2017 Discovery Pass, and that will entitle you to free admission.
So many people have different backgrounds in Canada, and so did the guys that worked here and the women that worked here.
150 years. What do you think about that?
That is insane.
I know.
It's insane.
Do you think this is what Canada looked like 150 years ago?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah?
I can see being like this.
For Canada 150, there's a lot of stuff on for kids and families and just to celebrate our country, right?
Well, we're going to do lots of camping this year.
Okay.
We're going to check out the Pacific Rim Park.
Okay.
And yeah, camping. And then we like to celebrate in Steveston with their Salmon Fest every year. So it'll probably be a big one this year.
Most of them were from around the planet. We had people from Norway, we had people from Sweden, we had people from South America, we had people from South Africa, we had people from China, we had people from everywhere.
Oh, Canada.
Can you sing it?
Can you say, oh, Canada? Canada. Good boy.
What better way to learn about Canada's history than here at Fort Langley? What are those though?
Authentics, cool. Dean, some people go camping here right in Fort Langley. I talked to a lot of people. Canada 150, they're going to be doing a lot of camping this year.
You're watching Fraser Focus, more local stories when we come back.
You wonder how young kids, 1 or 2 years old, and they have to be tested and they have to be shot with insulin.
Hey guys, welcome back to Fraser Focus, local faces and local places. Right now we're in Langley at Willowbrook. We're at the walking club. How are those feet doing there?
Just happy.
Couple more laps?
Sure.
All right, let's do this.
So did you get your laps in this morning, Lonnie?
Yes.
Yes?
Yeah, I think so.
And so what color of pin are you going to get this year? Our Willowbrook club has been here probably for over 30 years now.
And it's made up of just people who want to get out there health-wise and
Want to stay fit and that, and walk, and a social group too.
We're going to go around
Yep.
here.
We're just like a rat, follow all the outside walls to burn the calories, to burn the, to get the blood going, dumping the sugars in your body.
Okay.
And exercise helps quite a bit with that.
Yeah.
Oh, those are some nice shoes.
Oh, thank you.
In British Columbia, 1.5 million people live with diabetes or prediabetes. That's 28% of our population. Lifestyle plays a part, but there are other factors that are beyond people's control. Family history, genetics, where you come from in the world.
Type 1 diabetes generally occurs in people under the age of 18, though it can be much later. Right. It's often a rapid onset, an autoimmune disorder, whereas type 2 diabetes more than likely would develop in an older adult, slow onset, and it may have an autoimmune or an inflammatory response.
Did that hurt? Oh no, I've done this multiple times a day. It doesn't hurt at all anymore. That's super high. So I had a really carby breakfast.
So what should it say? What's ideal?
Post your meal, 2 hours later, it should be less than 10.
And you got to wear good shoes.
Like those?
Yeah, and you're not like sandals. I got to be careful that I don't stub my toes.
Wow.
Because you got to watch out for infections.
It affects people in different ways. And for me, unfortunately, I went into kidney failure. So with my, I guess, high blood sugars, and it affected my kidneys. And yeah, I just have to be careful all the time. You got still some more to do? How many more laps?
And the other thing, what gives a person strength to take the insulin, the needles and all that stuff, you wonder how young kids, 1 or 2 years old, and they have to be tested and they have to be shot with insulin.
That's tough. I went to a little girl's house. I think she was 2 or 3 at the time a couple years ago, and her mom was making her breakfast and she had to measure every single thing.
1, 2, 3.
If it goes for a prolonged period without any insulin in her body, it'll start to turn her blood to a form of acid, which can get her really, really sick, and we end up in children's.
I just want to let people know how important it is to get the right diet and stick to it. My dad...
That is very tough. That's a big challenge.
Yes,
everybody says
is
you can do it, you can do it.
You're not sure if you're going out a lot or if you're traveling a lot. Is that what we're talking about, Dixie? Your dad had something?
My dad had diabetes, and they figure that's what killed him. He would not stick to a diet.
Store this in the compost.
The challenge with type 2 is to maintain the functioning of the beta cells producing the insulin hormone. And when that stops, then of course they would become insulin dependent as well.
Well, for platinum, 950. For gold, 715.
So you start getting dizzy?
Blurry vision.
Okay.
Gait wane or gait loss, mostly weight loss.
I have more pedometers if you need a pedometer. You want one?
Things to do to delay your diabetes or prevent it is to have an active lifestyle. Exercise and staying slim goes a long way.
All right, that's enough walking for me today. I don't know how you guys do it. We'll be right back here on Fraser Focus in a moment. See these feet?
That's my last resort.
Last resort, just
Last
when people
resort.
are really in the way.
Please move.
Welcome back to Fraser Focus. Paramedics across British Columbia are seeking signatures as part of a petition, all in efforts to have their work deemed as an essential service.
Quadra Street. Quadra Street. Is that like right in downtown Victoria?
Yeah, that's right. And it's
Line of people trying to sign up here.
Yeah, they're here to sign a petition to help paramedics become an essential service in BC. As it stands, only firefighters and police are considered essential in BC, and we're just trying to change that.
But are there separate tones for the ambulance and the fire?
No.
And the... You all have the same tones?
Pretty much, yeah. Fire has, I think, one that's just a bit more aggressive than ours.
I think anyone who says that they're not an essential service has never required their assistance.
And have you had experience with the paramedics before?
Well, I'm a registered nurse and I work with Fraser Health, and absolutely, they're an absolutely essential service, and many people would not be alive if it wasn't for them.
We're just asking the government to move us into the Police and Fire Bargaining Act, so we have the same bargaining rights as they do.
So what is it all about? Why do you want to be a part of the essential service here?
Ambulance paramedics don't have the same ability to fall back on a binding arbitrator when there's an impasse at the bargaining table. So that is what brings dignity to the professions of firefighters and police officers.
My first station was at Big White, and I lived in Richmond at the time.
Right.
So it was about a 6-hour commute, all for the benefit of $2 an hour. That was my only guarantee. If no call came in while I was on duty, then all I made was the $2 an hour.
It's tough.
It is tough. It's tough to make a living, and you have to do that for several years. I was 5 years part-time before I had enough seniority to get a regular full-time spot.
What do we have?
So inside we've got our stretcher, oxygen portable, that's the one that we would take inside. There's a bigger tank up front for when we're driving to the hospital. And then we've got lots of cupboards with all sorts of extra equipment.
What is the impact of not being part of the essential service?
Well, the only sort of major contract dispute / job action that happened for me was in 2010. We were getting nowhere at the bargaining table, and so we went on strike, but the extent of our job action was to work full-time while wearing t-shirts that said on strike.
That's one. I know that one.
For over 12 years now, we haven't had a proper negotiated collective agreement with our employer, and the result of that is that our wages and benefits and other issues have been festering for so long. We're having a difficult time now in attracting people into the profession.
King George. Okay, so yeah, you're right about you.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're going to be in the Surrey Panorama.
Both of us?
Both of you.
They saved my life. I had a heart attack several years ago. They came with the ambulance came and the fire engine came. The paramedics came into the house. They got me going. They got me to a hospital. And I'm here today.
So without them?
Wouldn't be here.
So even if one of the ridings fails to reach that threshold, then the whole campaign collapses.
But did you know that paramedics weren't part of an essential service here?
I didn't know that. No, I didn't. I mean, I'm a nurse and I see them daily, and I don't know what we would do without them, so.
Now, is it just about pay, or is it about the services that come with being a part of an essential service?
It's not just the pay. I don't think it's the pay. It's a service itself. BC Ambulance is a good service, and we should keep it up, and we need to keep it up. And this is part of what's going on now.
That's my last resort.
Last resort, just when people are really in the way.
Please move.
This petition that is collecting signatures from all of BC's electoral districts will end on April the 10th. You're watching Fraser Focus. More local stories when we come back.
You don't get the family feel when you do it through pay-per-view.
Hey guys, welcome back to Fraser Focus, local faces and local places. Recent reports have indicated that Canadians are carrying more debt on their credit cards and overall. Let's talk about what's going on.
Credit Counseling Society, Josh speaking. How may I help you? Hi, good. How are you doing today?
Well, we've been in kind of a perfect storm for a long time in terms of interest rates being relatively low, which encourages people to borrow money.
It keeps you awake at night. It causes you stress. Debt. No one else sees it, but it's always there.
So my husband and I think I had 2 major credit cards and he had 1. The trouble was he wasn't working as much as he should have been working.
Okay, so life changed?
Yeah, he was in construction and life changed, and we relied more on our credit cards than we relied on God or anyone else.
It keeps you awake at night, and it causes stress.
You have a credit card. I have a credit card. Is there a balance on that credit card?
Yes. We went to the bank just to see if we could get a consolidated loan, and they said, no, you're not getting anything from us. So they directed us actually to Credit Counseling Society.
Okay, so you've been getting some calls lately from the creditors?
We may be able to help them by working with them to develop a budget, negotiate a repayment plan with their creditors, where creditors will stop charging interest, reduce their payments, so that our clients have one monthly payment that fits their budget, so they can get out of debt within a reasonable timeline while maintaining a reasonable standard of living.
Okay, no problem. Have a great day. Bye now.
Our first payment came out just weeks before Christmas. And it was, what are we going to do? So I actually ended up taking some of the Christmas things back so that we'd have enough to pay this new bill.
Well, we own our home, but we rent out the home, and we live in the small suite just to pay off the debt.
What do you teach your daughters about savings, about debt?
Basically, if you don't have the money, you can't buy it.
Because my husband was working steady, we were actually able to pay it off in 3.5 years instead of 4.5 years.
Oh, wow. Okay, so that's good.
Yeah, so we're completely debt-free.
That's where people want to be, not there's no light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, too many people are in a black hole. They just don't know what to do or where to go, and they're stuck. So it's important that we help them get out of that position. So no matter what a person's situation is, there's always a solution.
The report also says the average Canadian holds a debt of just under $4,100 on their card. That's up 2.3% at the end of 2016. Stay with us here on Fraser Focus as we head over to Willow Video.
Imagine the perfect video store. It would have a great selection, right? Right, over 10,000 videos. 3 evening rentals, so no rush, no hassle. Fast checkout, 24-hour quick drop return.
Me and my 2 brothers opened Willow Video in 1988. We've had a lot of ups and downs throughout the years, but going strong, still doing good. More or less probably due to the fact that we're the last video store, as far as I know, south of the Fraser.
Hello, Willow Video.
We have another one too in Abbotsford.
You do? So one in Abbotsford, and you guys.
And this one.
And then what about other video stores, other people?
There was one, I believe, in Aldergrove. I think it was called Save on Video, and they're no longer there.
Yeah, just let me check for a second. I'm just going to throw you on hold, okay? Yeah, okay, thanks.
What are we checking for?
We're checking for like a Wii game.
So you guys have video games and movies?
Yeah, we do sell quite a few used games.
It was a little rocky probably around 5 years ago when the Rogers and Blockbusters were preparing to close too.
Which do you prefer? The Netflix or coming into the store?
Coming into the store? Yeah.
Wow.
Because at that time Netflix just came in.
Oh, scary, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, and the Red Box that just came to Canada too.
Wow.
One dolphin tail.
Show on Netflix, basically.
So everyone's all on the internet.
Yeah, basically. I'm not, but.
No, you don't have any old VHS tapes and you don't take those out? Be kind, rewind.
Yeah, I wasn't born yet. He wasn't born when there was VHS.
Oh, and you were?
Yes.
Blu-ray is high definition, so the quality's better. It's uncompressed video, and I just prefer to rent movies.
It's nice to,
The
look around.
experience,
Yeah,
right?
sure, and look around and, classic video store.
Fever Pitch, that's a good baseball movie.
And I think the main thing is families. This area is really strong with families.
Okay.
And you don't get the family feel when you do it through pay-per-view or
Right.
through internet and all those type of things.
You see us as you want to see us. That kind of is one of those lost arts. I remember as a kid, it was always kind of a fun thing when you do that outing. You'd kind of go and you get to look and you see this big wall of like every possible movie that you can rent. It feels a lot more genuine, at least to me.
Yeah. I'm glad this place is still here.
Please be kind, rewind. Do you remember that, Dean? Tape decks, VHS, record players, 8-tracks, you would.
Giving away my age, I remember learning and training and cutting on those to edit. Well, that brings us to the end of another episode of Fraser Focus, Local Places and Faces, from here in the Fraser region.
If you guys have a story to tell, don't forget to contact us via email. You can give us a call, or there's always social media, JoyTV.BC. I'm Leah Bolton.
And I'm Dean Atwell. Thanks for watching.